And we were talking off the air. You ended up moving to Louisville to go to OVW, and
OVW.
it's funny. There are a lot of people that, whether or not they were in the business before or not, they still live in Louisville or that surrounding area because they
Right.
moved there for that. What was OVW like?
That was probably the funnest time during my wrestling career. Like, it was so nice, and I got so lucky because there were so many cool people there. Like, Cena trained with us, Shelton, Orton, Batista, O'Hare.
Yeah.
So we just had, Jindrak was there. Mm-hmm. Rob Conway. Like, we just had such a Eugene. Yeah. Nick Dinsmore. Yeah, we had such a fun group. Victoria, God, yeah.
I interviewed her recently. She was wonderful.
Oh, she is. She is fantastic. Yeah, so we just had such a great group, and we became so close. Like, when I got there, I remember. So Jim Cornette ran him and Danny Davis. They both ran OVW, and Cornette was really strict about who could hang out together, you know? So we weren't, like, if you're a baby face, it's like you're not hanging out with any of the heels. And I was a baby face, and most of my friends were heels. So it's like Victoria, O'Hare, Cena, they were all like in that group. And Shelton and I were on the outskirts looking in. It's like part of that world, you know? So we couldn't hang out. And we snuck out one day. Victoria and I, we went to a Hooters to watch a pay-per-view. So we're eating, and next day we go to practice, and Cornette calls us in, and he's like, hey, so we hear that you guys were hanging out at blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, shoot. So we got fined for doing that. And another day, it was Dinsmore's birthday, so everybody decided to go out. There was like about 20 of us. And you're counting heads, like babyface, heel, babyface, heel, babyface, heel. It's like, this is like $10,000 worth of fines, guys. Like, we can't get busted today.
Did you all get in any trouble for that? What, that one?
No, not that one night. Yeah, it was fantastic. Apparently,
God.
wrestling fans did not hang out at that club.
And I mean, a lot of people forget, like, not because today, Orton, Cena, Batista, Shelton, like, that class is fondly remembered, like, for that. But I mean, the women's class there too, as you mentioned, like, you and Victoria were a part of that right then. And
right.
When you see where, or I mean, I don't know if you have seen where women's wrestling is now, how does that progression and how things change, how does that look to you? If it were more like that back then, do you think you would have stuck around longer?
It seems, and from what I've heard, it seems like a lot of the politics in the locker room has changed quite a bit since I was there. And the politics were probably the biggest issue for me, you know, because we always got our wrestling in. I was on SmackDown, and they were really trying to develop that, like with Fit Finley. That was his project. That was his baby. So we got our fix through there. For me, it was just there's too many politics and it was one of those where it's just like a lot of sports, if you work hard, you'll see it, right? Like, you'll see the payoff. And with this one, it seemed like it didn't really matter if you worked hard. So there was really nothing that you can do to, I guess, get ahead if somebody didn't want you to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was really nothing to work towards. It's like, oh, you plateaued it. If you could work hard all your life, and it's really not going to get you that far, you know? At least that's what it felt like to me.
I remember a story that you told about Batista, like, having some harsh words that you said were more like a helpful thing. Like, he was trying to, like, help you along, but in wrestling, it's often via tough love. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I was running home. So I moved to Louisville. I didn't think I was going to be there very long, right? I was just like, I'll be there for a few weeks, and then, you know, on the road. So naive, right? So I stayed at like an extended stay, and I didn't have a car, and I would jog to the gym, get my workout on, and jog back to my extended stay. And on the way back, I'm jogging, and a car pulls up next to me. And I look, and it's Batista, and he rolls his window down. He goes, "Get in the car." I was like, oh, shoot. So I got in the car, and he's like, "Hey, man, you're rubbing everybody the wrong way." And it's like, it's stuff that I didn't understand because I did get in the business so quickly. And I don't know the rules, you know, or these unwritten rules. And he's like, you're coming off like not respectful, and then you're winking at people. I was like, man, I wink at people because I'm so nervous. It's like, you guys are ginormous. It's like a whole new world. I left my home. I don't know what I'm doing. So it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, it's actually like a nervous thing. And he kind of like told me how to behave in a locker room, you know, and that really helped. And when I got on the road, the Dudley Boys gave me a hard time, and he was with them in that group.
Yeah.
And he really stuck his neck out for me. So I will forever be grateful. And then the Dudley Boys were fantastic. But, you know, at first they were a little rough until he came to the rescue.
Do you remember any other like tough love situations, whether it be from a member of the female roster, male roster, agent, producer, anything like that? Or
I mean, the girls were fantastic. Dawn Marie can be a tough cookie, but she took an instant liking to me. So that worked out. And then it was Tori, and Tori is just really, really sweet. So I didn't have that from the girls. When I got into OVW, we used to have a kick out drill, right? So you would kick out. And during the kick out drill, these guys would not budge. So they would lay on top of you, and you're trying to kick out, and they're like 300 pounds, and it wouldn't work. And one of them comes, and here's like the next 20, and you're like blown completely, right? So I learned that if you stick your finger in somebody's butt, they jump.
The oil.
So
yes, that'll work. That'll work. That makes them.
So it's just like I would lay down, and it's like, find it. Boop. Oh, look at how fast you jumped. And they, you know, they actually loved it. They started treating me a little bit differently in a positive way after that. So. Oh
man. So how long did you end up living in Louisville?
Few years. 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. Because then I met Eric Engel there, and we got engaged, and he was still training whenever I was on the road. So I stuck around for a little bit longer, and it was fun. Like, it was so beautiful. It was, like I said, Louisville. That was some of the funnest time in wrestling. We were just such a close group, and everybody was so passionate about wrestling. You know, they were there for the right reasons. And it was fantastic.
So you had mentioned off the air about your sister getting into OVW. Now, I also remember you told me that originally your sister is the one that got you to try out for Tough Enough. Like, you were going to go to wrestling school, but then apparently there was a commercial, and she got it recorded, and you were like, okay, let's do this.
Yes. Yeah. So I was, I just got back from Mexico. Like I said, I was like super hippie, no drinking, no smoking, no meat. I lived in an apartment, like kind of far away from everybody, no TV, like, you know, just like total nomad. And my sister had a TV, like most people do. And she's like, hey, dude, I saw this commercial. And it's like, it's for a wrestling show, and whoever wins gets a 1-year contract. You need to send in the video. I was like, oh, cool. So I sent in the video, and everything, like, it's so crazy. Like, I guess when things are meant to be, sometimes it just happens so easily. It's like you send in a video, and then a few months later you're there, right?
Yeah. And you had said that she did obviously some training there, and like she followed your path effectively, right?
She did. So she definitely had her foot in the door, and she left college to go with me and do wrestling. And she was actually pretty good. She was in bowling services, BS, in OVW. And she was doing really well. But then she just lost focus, and she started partying too much and not going to practice. So that kind of fell apart. But
has that ever been anything that you had heard her bring up again after that? Like, you know what, maybe I'd give it another go. Or was she pretty much well out of it?
She was done.
And that's a lot of times that's hard to do for wrestlers. Like, that's why I think your case is so fascinating. Like, you were like, well, I'm done.
Yeah. And it's, I just really, you know, I like my happiness, and
sure.
If it wasn't making me happy, then it's just like, okay, cut, find something else. So.
Well, I'll tell you something that made me.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Like, it was a beautiful memory, and I made friends, and it's just like great memories. So it's not like I regret it or anything. It was fantastic.